That exact moment when you gift a woman your forgiveness is the same exact moment that she loses respect for you. Because forgiveness cannot be gifted, it must be earned. I see this all the time in my consultations. Men are too quick, too eager to accept apologies, to offer forgiveness, to just move on and forget the whole thing. Their girlfriend offers some words of apology and the man accepts it, but what he doesn't realize is that the importance and meaning that he places on words might not be the same as what she does. For a high-quality man to offer a sincere apology, that really means something. It means that he has reflected on his mistakes and he has considered the impact of his actions on other people. He takes responsibility for his behavior. He acknowledges what he's done is wrong and he pledges to do better in the future. That's what his apology means. For the high-quality man, an apology is significant because it is the symbolic representation of all of the actions that he has pledged to take in order to make things right again. For a low-quality woman, an apology is a quick and easy way to avoid taking responsibility. It's a means of escaping consequences, moving on so you don't have to deal with all of the hurt that you caused or any of that annoying self-reflection or personal responsibility. In this video, I'm going to explain why you can't afford to just accept an apology every time your girlfriend does something wrong. Instead, I'm going to give you an action-based plan, a step-by-step guide of how to behave in the aftermath of her doing something wrong so that she knows that you mean business and ensures that she doesn't slip up again. Elements of this advice are going to be relevant in most arguments in a relationship, but they're going to be particularly applicable when a woman is acting like a real low-quality woman and engaging in really toxic or abusive behaviors. So picture the type of problematic behavior that a woman might take that would ordinarily create an argument in a relationship. Could be she flirted with other guys, could be she lied to you, could be she is gaslighting you, she's being passive-aggressive, or she's projecting her insecurities out on you and yelling at you for no reason. Whatever it is, how are you meant to deal with this? Understand that words are not going to be enough. Typically, words are a woman's strength, and so if you fight the battle in that domain, you're likely to get outsmarted. Women have a lot of practice talking. They're very comfortable in that domain. So if the worst thing that happens is that you both have a long conversation about your feelings and her feelings, that's not bad for her. A low-quality woman will just see that conversation as an opportunity to deny, to shift blame, to avoid responsibility, to keep changing the subject so that you can't gain a foothold anywhere. By the end, she'll probably convince you that you've done something wrong, that you're overreacting, and you'll end up apologizing to her. What a disaster. It happens all the time. Men thinking that they can win in a war of words against women. Most of the time they can't. And women don't respect a man of words. Women respect men of action. Masculinity is action-based, and that's what women are looking for in their man. They're looking for signs of masculinity. That's what they're attracted to. So in the aftermath, when she's done something wrong, you need to take decisive action. Now, obviously, you're allowed to speak some words to her. You're not a mute. But my point is that unless those few words that you speak are backed by action, then she's not going to take you seriously. Now, when taking actions, you absolutely have to take the high road. As the aggrieved party, you start out with the moral superiority in the situation. Keep that. That's important. Under no circumstances should you give that up, both for moral reasons and for practical, strategic reasons. For example, if you catch her flirting with other guys, don't turn around and go flirting with other girls. That is not a sincere reaction. You just look hurt and weak and reactive. Plus, it's not going to work. You've sacrificed your integrity for nothing because she's just going to escalate and you're just going to escalate. And the whole thing's not going to get resolved because you're both acting like children. You take the high ground. That is your domain. And your first step is to let her know unequivocally that what she's done is wrong and unacceptable. You're not asking her permission to make this assertion, and you're not posing it as a question. You don't need her approval to make your own judgments. You know what you think, and you tell her very clearly that what she's done is unacceptable. At this point, you're embodying the father archetype, that paternal, masculine figure that is disciplining an unruly child. You're not angry or overly emotional. As the mature one in this situation, you've kept a level head, which is a further demonstration of your superiority. Now, when you tell a woman that she is messed up, there is a large spectrum of responses that you're likely to encounter. Maybe she will try and explain and justify her behavior. Maybe she'll deny it. Maybe she'll shift the blame onto you in some way. Whatever she says, you come back at her with the exact same response. I need some space. We'll talk about this later. Men who've never tried this don't understand how effective this can be. Space and silence to a woman is going to be torture. If she's feeling guilty or if she's feeling judged, she's going to do everything in her power to suck you into a fight, into a conversation, an argument right then, right there. But here's the thing. She messed up, not you. This is going to get resolved in your time frame, not hers. If you tell her that you need some time and some space before you're ready to talk so that you can investigate your own thoughts and consider your own feelings, what can she really say in response to that? I demand that you talk to me now, before you're ready, before you've had time to gather your thoughts and feelings. That's ridiculous. Asking for space is a completely reasonable request, and you setting those boundaries and creating that frame, that's extremely masculine. You're not some emotionally reactive child that needs to lash out the moment that you feel pain. No, you can take time and consider this. You're rational and mature enough to know that when the two of you do finally talk, it better suits your purpose of resolving this issue if you have clarity over your thoughts and feelings. You're not at that emotional peak. That's not going to resolve anything, and that's why you have requested space. Now, in truth, that is the real purpose, to give yourself some time, some space to calm down and gather your thoughts. But it serves another really important agenda as well, because your insistence on some space and some silence is going to make her much more likely to reflect on her own behavior. The moment after she hears you condemn her transgressions, her first response, her reaction is going to be defensiveness. That's basically how all humans are, men and women. When somebody tells us that we've done something wrong, we have that knee-jerk reaction to deny it or to fight against it. You do not want that defensive energy present when you're making a genuine attempt to resolve this. And so by insisting on some space, you get that knee-jerk reaction of defensiveness just out of the way. The beauty of it is that in the time and space that you have insisted on, she is sweating. She doesn't know what's going to happen. She doesn't know what you're thinking, and that is really scary for a woman. That's good. That's what you want her to feel. That's hard for guys because as a man, you've got that strong masculine instinct inside you that's telling you to protect women, to shield them from pain, but you've got to move past that. Stay strong because what you're doing is in her long-term interest. And as the man, it's your responsibility to make that decision for the relationship. If she has messed up big time, then she needs to know that this is serious. It might take a bit of panic, a bit of fear to actually get her to reflect on her behavior and to take responsibility for her actions. That is the energy that you want her to be in when you finally talk with her. No longer defensive, taking this seriously and willing to make some changes. She's happy to improve her behavior, to do basically whatever it takes, so long as she doesn't have to sit there for hours or days or however long it was, wondering what you're thinking and wondering when the two of you are going to talk. That was unbearable for her. Lots of guys are too quick to try and resolve this. They make the mistake of over-explaining themselves because they don't understand the profound power that silence has over women. The most powerful tool that you have at your disposal is her own conscience, so long as you have the willpower to stay silent and actually let it speak. If you're overly emotional and you're angry and you're yelling at her, then she's going to be defensive. But if you're able to just be silent, then all of her own self-criticisms are going to do the work for you. Now, after the space and time that you have requested has lapsed and you feel ready to, have that conversation, you've gathered your thoughts, you're feeling calm, then you can reach out to her. If you find that she's not ready for a real rational conversation, she's still emotionally volatile, then just take more space. You may have said that you'll be ready to chat in a couple of hours or a couple of days or whatever it is, but if you find that she's still not in the right space for a rational discussion, you can take more space. That's within your rights. She needs to know that the only circumstances where you're going to have this discussion is when she's calm, rational, and ready to actually look at her own behavior. That's the frame that this conversation is going to happen in. Otherwise, there will be no conversation. That is setting boundaries. That is keeping things within your frame. That's taking action. That is masculinity at work. When she is calm and ready to talk, now is the time to leave no stone unturned. Talk through everything, no detail too small. In that conversation, you're looking for 3 things. First, a complete and thorough understanding of all of her motivations. Why she did what she did. What was she feeling at the time? What was she trying to achieve? How did she feel in the aftermath? All of that is necessary data that you need to know so that you can make an informed decision about the future of your relationship. You'll be asking personal questions, and she may feel like in ordinary circumstances, she's under no obligation to tell you, that her private thoughts are her business. But Well, that's true, but you're under no obligation to continue being in a relationship with her. In ordinary circumstances, you'd be fine to respect her privacy, but she messed up and she impacted you, and so now you need to know what the hell is going on with her. The second thing that you're looking for in this conversation is evidence that she can take responsibility for her behavior. If she's still denying or shifting blame or trying to change the subject, then the issue is not resolved. Keep going until you see sincere, tangible evidence that she's taking responsibility for her actions. The last thing to look for in this conversation is a commitment from her that this is not going to happen again in the future. A promise that she's going to do better and an explanation for how she's going to achieve that. So those are the three things that you're looking for. First, a complete understanding of why she did what she did. Second, evidence of responsibility that she's taken for her actions. And number three, a commitment that it's not going to happen again in the future. Keep talking until you have seen those three things. You'll notice that an apology is absent from that list. And personally, it's because I find apologies are completely pointless. If she explains herself and takes responsibility and says that she's going to do things better in the future, then why do you need an apology? You know, that's just useless words. Only actions matter. I don't like anything where it seems like one party is lording their power over another person. You know, like really dark relationship dynamic where, yes, you've done something wrong, so now I can humiliate you and degrade you by making you apologize to me. Really, really dark stuff. This is not about punishing anybody. It's about making sure that whatever happened is not going to happen again. It's about moving forward in a positive note, which brings us to the final step. If you have talked through everything and you're satisfied that she's taken responsibility and she's made that commitment to not, repeat these mistakes in the future, that doesn't automatically mean that things are just going to go magically back to normal. To resolve something is a cognitive process because you can rationally recognize that a person has done everything that they can in that moment to make something right. But trust is deeper than that. Trust is not cognitive, it's emotional, and trust takes time to rebuild. If she has committed some serious transgression, you can tell her, I appreciate you taking responsibility and I feel satisfied that you're making that commitment to not repeat this mistake in the future, but you need to understand my trust in you has been compromised and it might take some time before things go back to normal. That is completely reasonable, and a high quality woman would agree with you. She says, yes, that makes sense. I understand that, words and promises are just things that are meaningless unless they're actually backed up by actions. But look, I understand what I did was wrong and I'm committed to earning your trust again. That's how a high quality woman responds. Can you imagine how a low quality woman responds when you tell her that her promises are nice, but it's not enough? You need to wait to see how things are going to go in the future before you can trust her again? She's going to throw a tantrum. I already said I was sorry. Why do you want to punish me? She gets all upset and makes herself the victim, completely disregarding your feelings or your need to feel safe in the relationship. It's as though your lack of trust in her is somehow a poor reflection on you. That is some gaslighting bullshit. She has shown through her response that she is not ready to take responsibility. She's not willing to actually do the work necessary to rebuild, your trust in her. She feels like through her apology, she is entitled to your instant forgiveness. Women like that are the worst. She's not sorry. She's not committed to changing. If she was, she would recognize that only actions, tangible, real-world behaviors can actually rebuild trust. Anything else is forced and artificial because trust isn't something that you can gift another person. Trust has to be earned. So gentlemen, please internalize this. Just because the conversation is over and it went well and you're satisfied with all of her responses, if you still have that churned up feeling inside, you're under no obligation to act as though everything is normal. Your feelings are perfectly rational. If somebody has broken your trust, you can't just play nice and happy. You're going to remain a little bit suspicious of them. That's completely rational until you see actual evidence that there's been a change. If she starts to pressure you, saying, what else can I do? Why are you holding on to this grudge? I've told you everything. Hold your ground. Tell her, I accept your explanation and I appreciate your efforts so far to make things better, but my trust has been compromised and it won't be until I see tangible behaviors in the future before it's completely rebuilt. A lot of women are going to hate hearing that because they want it to be resolved. They don't want that uncomfortable feeling of being watched and being observed. They want that instant comfort again. At least part of their brain does, but trust me, in the long term, this is a good thing because you don't want her to believe that it just takes a few nice words to make things better again. She needs to know that it's going to take real actions, effort, sacrifice potentially on her part. And trust me, she's going to respect you so much more when she sees that you're a man who can't just be buttered up with nice words, that you demand real action, that you have standards. She's going to be attracted to that kind of masculinity. So hold strong. So that's how you resolve the aftermath of a woman's negative behaviors. You don't just accept an apology and gift them your forgiveness. That is the action taken by weak men who are too frightened to assert their rights within the relationship. You demand action. And that is the important lesson here. And I think that it's applicable for both genders. So for you awesome high quality women who watch my channel, I know you're the minority, but I think there's something in this for you. Like some of this advice might be gendered, like the women are less comfortable with silence, you know, and the words kind of stuff. But mostly this is directly applicable. If your man has committed some kind of terrible transgression, you put him through these same steps. I think it's also important that I make it really, really clear that if you're doing this, like you're going through these steps, you have to make absolutely certain that you're in the right. If this is in any way gray or ambiguous, like she messed up, but you also messed up, you can't be doing this. If you're going to act this righteous, then you need to make absolutely certain that your conscience is clean, that you genuinely are the aggrieved party. Because if you put her through all of this, when actually a lot of this was your fault, you're not on the side of moral superiority, you're not being righteous, you're being abusive, you're being a dick. So make sure that you're in the right before you do this. A good test to give yourself is to imagine that you had genuinely done something wrong to somebody that you loved and you have hurt them and you didn't want to. Would you be okay with your partner putting you through this procedure? Because if you really were sorry, then you'd be fine with that. You'd be like, yes, this is what's actually going to deliver us a positive future and a path out of this unpleasantness. I'm happy to do it. It's really only if you are comfortable receiving this that you should be comfortable giving it out. That's always one of the difficulties with this whole YouTube thing, is I don't have control over how my words are being received. Like in this video, like in my mind, I'm giving advice to those poor guys who can't stand up for themselves, who are in abusive relationships or tolerate negative female behavior. And I'm trying to give them those action steps. But there might be guys out there who's like, yeah, Alexander's teaching us how to put women in their place. So like male superiority forever. God, no, that's not what I'm doing. But I don't know. I can't control how people receive my words. I just hope that people are intelligent enough to be able to see the nuance here. So let's do a quick recap. She messes up. So what do? First, you let her know unequivocally that she has done wrong. Then you take space. Once the space has been had, then you talk. In that conversation, you're looking for three things. You're looking for all of the available data, a complete understanding of her motivations, why she did what she did. Then you're looking for evidence of personal responsibility and for that commitment for how things are going to be different in the future. Lastly, do not gift her an artificial forgiveness. Watch and observe her behavior and allow your trust to rebuild at a natural rate. Doing all of that is your best chance to make sure that this behavior never happens again. Hey, my latest Patreon video is